No. Stop. You missed. You missed.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Brady Clark. This is my buddy Jacob. We had the privilege of watching the Avengers yesterday. Kind of like a Bond-esque kind of feel at the very beginning.
What I really liked is they just seemed so in unison. I mean, they were going around, kicking butt, and it was just like, it was nothing for them. It was like, oh, another day in the park.
Their chemistry is really developed in this movie. You can tell that they've spent some time, working with each other. They've had experience that you didn't get with the first Avengers movie. For me, at first, the first third of the movie, or at least like the first 45 minutes, seemed like they were setting up for future Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I did enjoy that, but I know people dislike that a lot. There was like kind of serving up Black Panther movies or future Thor movies or Civil War coming up next spring. That was obvious that they were kind of pitching, but they have to, because if they want this world to continue to build, they have to throw out these things to make sense.
The progression of Ultron, I feel like that went too fast. I would have liked to see him developed a little more in the beginning.
Like the first 40 minutes of the movie is like, okay, when's Ultron going to show up? Let's pick up the pace. And then he shows up, and you see the production of, or the build of Ultron to Ultron absolutely destroying the Avengers Tower.
Yeah, it was like they started from the bottom and now they're here.
You get right into it as soon as Ultron is announced. He is there and he's tearing shiz up. Party scene at the very beginning of the movie is kind of forced. It's fun. This is the only way you could see Falcon and War Machine in the movie, really.
Yeah.
It's like they have them on cast, so they had to use them somehow, and it's kind of, they were forced. They didn't need to be there, but they were there. And then early on, we are introduced to the Maximoff twins, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And it's really interesting to see how they did Quicksilver in this movie, because everyone knows like how amazing Quicksilver was in Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
And it was the big thing going is, how are they going to top it? And basically the way they did it is having him in the entire movie.
Yeah, they did a good job with the twins. I thought they were just going to be the Hawkeyes of the first movie, where they're just kind of like mind control puppets. But they were characters. They had their own story. They had their own motives going in, and I did enjoy that.
I really enjoyed Scarlet Witch. I think she was my favorite character in the movie. She's the first superhero female outside of Black Widow, obviously, but she is the first superpowered female in the MCU movie universe, which I thought was really cool. She's done really well, and she's pretty powerful.
You're right. I mean, Black Widow, powerful female character. She's just an assassin, though. But now you've got a female character that can compete with the heavy hitters of the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. And she single-handedly took care of the Avengers, because I don't know how big of an actress she is.
Oh, one of the Olsen twins? Yeah, she's one of the Olsen twins.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She's one of the Olsen twins. Yeah, Mary-Kate Olsen.
Oh.
She's one of the Olsen twins.
Well, sister. She's a sister to the Olsen twins.
Ooh. But she did a good job. She held her own.
So I don't know how famous this character is in the movie universe. Maybe they could sign her on to a TV deal. I'd love to see her on S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's talk about Ultron just a little bit.
Yes.
I was super excited for Ultron. I was saying he's gonna be the best villain. He's gonna be menacing. He's gonna be scary. I'm gonna be terrified of him.
Yeah.
At the end of this film. And frankly, that is not what he is at all. He's not scary, but he's hilarious. But once you realize what his character is, he's great at what he does.
Yeah, I agree. I was picturing him as this kind of dark overlord that, didn't have much empathy. But you actually could relate to him, which I thoroughly enjoyed, because I could kind of understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. James Spader was amazing. His voice was incredible, very deep, and just perfect for Ultron, in my opinion, the way that they wanted him to be.
Ultron's got the humor, he's got the power, he's got the scheme, he's got the confusion.
Yep.
He's summed up, I've always believed, the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. And that was his character, and I thoroughly enjoyed that.
And you bring up a Bible reference. He throws out Bible references throughout the entire movie, which is kind of weird, but that it fit. The biggest gripe for the first Avengers movie is how they wasted Hawkeye, how he was just a mind-controlled pod, and he didn't really have any progression. This movie, you kind of see his his life, his who he is really, and why he's on the Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, they did screw him over pretty hard in the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Second Avengers, I mean, to me, he was the only real person on
Yeah.
the Avengers. And I could relate to that so well. I wanted him to do well because I saw that he had a life, he was a person, he was funny.
Mm-hmm.
They really did make me really like Hawkeye.
Another person that, you know, if you don't want any spoilers, then kind of skim over this, but everyone kind of knows he was previewed in the previous trailer, is the introduction of Vision into the series, in the universe. And he's basically the yin to Ultron's yang, except for Vision, it has a soul. I really enjoyed seeing Paul Bettany get out from his shackles that was Jarvis, because for those that don't know, he's also the voice of Jarvis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see that he actually has a personality instead of the same robotic voice that Jarvis always has. So it was really cool to see him in live action in the full Vision suit.
You know, I like what they did because Vision honestly was the most powerful character in the movie.
Oh yeah,
for
definitely.
reasons that we're not going to disclose. But you know what? He had an innocence about him, a shyness that kind of made him a little more reserved, and I like that blend because you know, power corrupts, but the way they played him was just right with his power.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love, because I don't read the comic books. I'm not really familiar with Vision, but I was excited to see what he brings to the universe, because he brings something to the universe, and it really does tie into future movies of why he's important, and it'll be interesting to see what Marvel does with this character. What I love about Marvel is that they set up this entire universe. You know, there's certain movies coming out, but that also takes away from the finale scenes of each movie, because you know you see all these giant monster or giant robots coming and just destroying everything, intense fights, but you know that Captain America is going to be around, you know that Thor is going to be around, and Iron Man, you know those three have their own movies coming out, so that really puts like 5 different people that you know probably not going to show up, because they've said all along someone's going to die in this film, and it just kind of takes away, because you know that those characters are gonna be around.
Yeah. Okay, they have a movie contract. They have a movie contract. Who doesn't have a movie contract? Because that's going to be the one to die.
Some people may say it's kind of like the ending for Avengers 1. You could say it's very similar to that. There's a lot of destruction. He kind of leaned over to me and he explains why is everyone mad at Superman when they're actually destroying the country of Africa. There's a lot of broken robots and a lot of humor. And the next few movies coming out, Ant-Man's next in July, but the biggest problem for me is that it didn't set up for Civil War, and I say like it's setting up that movies are supposed to set up, but it's going to be interesting to see how they, from now until next spring, or how everything crumbles under beneath them. Maybe it'll be on S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe people are going to have to start watching that. I hope that's not the case, but unless if they have something gigantic planned for Ant-Man, it'll be interesting to see how the Civil War aspect turns out. So let's go ahead and score this movie. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna score them out of 5. I'm gonna go ahead and say Avengers: Age of Ultron was a 4.5 for me, out of 5. I enjoyed it a lot. There were some obvious plot holes in this movie that I couldn't ignore. But 4.5 to start off the summer movie season is something. It's a 9 basically, and I love this movie. I'd probably go watch it again in the theaters. In my opinion, it's better than the first Avengers, but you know there's gonna be a lot of mixed reviews. Jacob, what do you think of it?
I'm going to give it a solid 4.37 out of 5. I did thoroughly enjoy it. There were some parts where they took away the intensity, the progression of some characters. But overall, I mean, the fighting, the combat was amazing. The characters were amazing. Just overall, it was a really good movie.
It's a really good superhero movie. It's exactly what you want from it. It's hilarious. It's fun. And that's what superheroes movies need to be. They need to be fun, and they need to be exciting, and they need to be, you need to be invested. And that's what Marvel does, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do with these characters that they've added and certain characters that they've hinted into the future. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Jacob, for being a part of this.
Batman vs. Superman.
If you like to see, please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Give me a thumbs up and help me out on this venture. I hope to give you some future news in the future. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and welcome to summer movie season.